I was trying to think about how I was going to introduce this video, and I've actually started and stopped something like 5 times. So I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off and tell you what you can expect. This video is gonna be a little bit different than my normal Pinterest marketing tutorial, case study, or example about how you could be growing your online business using Pinterest. And the reason why is because I've been sharing a special series over for my email subscribers, but this is just too good for me to keep contained for email only. And so I thought, why not take it to YouTube and share a behind the scenes about how I, as a marketing expert and mentor, market my own business. Now, unless you live under a rock, you have probably felt or observed the volatility that has been happening with social media across marketing channels, and that a lot of people have been sharing and expressing that it's just not like what it used to be. The channels and tactics and campaigns that used to work are no longer working. But we can both agree that some people are growing hand over fist, while others are considering shuttering their doors because they just don't know what to do. Now, I have had the privilege of running my own business really since 2016 part-time. I took it full-time in 2017. And during that time, yes, I taught others how to use Pinterest. I also had clients. But because I was a service provider, what I realized very quickly was that to better serve my clients, those that I consulted with and those that I was mentoring, I really had to learn about the whole picture, because Pinterest doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's not this little siloed thing. And actually, what you're going to know is that really good marketing educators and mentors, the people that you should be looking up to, are going to always be really honest with you that when you look at a particular type of marketing or a particular platform or channel, that it never, almost never works in isolation. There's always more to the content ecosystem: funnels, email marketing, your website, your videos, how they work together, your lead magnet. And this really goes like, no matter the industry, the niche, I can give you an example. So your Pinterest is not going to grow unless we have other things in place that are going to help you make money, right? We could have beautiful Pinterest pins, a beautifully optimized Pinterest account with keywords. And if we're bringing them to really awful landing pages, we're not going to make sales. If we are bringing them to pages with little or no information, there's no trust there. Why would people give you their email? Why would people want to buy your products? By the fact that I have been deeply in the Pinterest marketing world for years and years and years, I learned all the other things. Then, as an educator and as someone who began to sell digital products, I learned very quickly that just my face and my brains weren't going to sell my products. I had to scramble to figure out, well, what's a sales funnel? What do I need on my website? How am I going to reach new people? What if I don't love Instagram? Okay, I'm interested in paid advertising. How am I going to run paid ads? And what you start to figure out is that you get a system that works for you. What I will kind of acknowledge and put out there is that I'm somebody that I just love marketing. I have a background in actually psychology, and I think that I love understanding humans. I love hearing people's stories. And when I started to really learn about what I needed to do to grow my own business, as well as helping my clients and my students, I had to sort of become like a method actor. I had to place myself in their businesses. Okay, this is what we're going to do on Pinterest. Here's how it will be supported by these other marketing levers or systems in their business. What do their product pages look like? What are they going to be emailing people? Should we be bringing people to their email list? And these are really some of the big questions. Everything has a context, and these things sort of have to work together. I'm making this motion because it's like cogs, right? Working together to make something happen. And you can, have incredible marketing. But if we don't have automations in place, if you have low converting product pages, if your product isn't good, things are gonna be hard. So why am I telling you all this? Well, I sent this email, like I said, that was really about a behind the scenes about what I have done in my own business that I'm really proud of, that has produced incredible revenue that has allowed me to grow my email list. And I have a funny observation is actually no matter what stage we look at, the beginning of my business, somewhere in the middle, or even the last year, what I have done, the basic ingredients has always been the same. And this is probably because when I started out online, I was a blogger. So I was working as a school psychologist or trained as a school psychologist. And I decided to start a blog as a passion project just for fun. And this was during the time period where social media wasn't really a thing. Instagram, Facebook, all these things were sort of emerging as business tools. And so when they started to come out and I was blogging, we saw it that first you started with your website or your blog, and then we brought people to those things that were making us money, no matter what sort of revenue model or business model you had, by talking and sharing them on Facebook or having a Facebook group or using Instagram. And we realize these become powerful, powerful tools for online growth. But what's really interesting is that what I've taught in my programs from day one, what I've done for myself, and I see my own business as this like huge, big like experiment. I can take risks that maybe you can't. I can try things without worrying like, what are people going to think about me? I have posts that have bombed. Nobody sees them, right? People joke about their flop error. I've had lots of flops, but then I have other things that have done really, really well. I actually saw somebody post the other day that you should never hire a marketing or social media expert who can't grow their own account. Now, I have thoughts and feelings about that. And I think sometimes people think, well, Megan's just a Pinterest girl, right? She has a big Pinterest account. I have over 128,000 followers. But admittedly, I grew those followers in the very early days, and I rarely actually use my own account as like, hey, you should trust me because look what I did. Like so many years ago. I don't do that. I let my students and my clients and also sort of the depth and diversity of my skills speak for itself. But what I wanted to bring up is that part of this experimentation, part of this that I like creating content. I like helping people. I love sharing the things that I observe, the things that I notice. You know, I do sometimes take courses and learn from subject matter experts, but I actually learn best just by looking, I don't know, spending time observing patterns, seeing how people are doing things and trying it myself. I run my own Meta ads. I run my own Pinterest ads. I've built my own website. We've built out all of our where we host our digital products. We have learned so much over the many, many years that we have been running a successful and growing year after year online business. And so this video is the introduction that I'm pulling back the curtains on how I am marketing my own business, how I have always marketed my own business in this way. And I want to share a little bit more about the different parts of that marketing stack, of that marketing strategy that I've developed that really I've only ever shared in my program Pin Potential or with my coaching students. They're really the only people who have ever or being able to pick my brain about how I market my own business. So this is the first time that I'm pulling back the curtain, showing you under the hood of my own business so that you can really understand how you might be able to do this yourself, that you can begin to take those steps to help you either create a marketing plan for the first time or to really gain back control over your marketing. Like I said, there's been a lot of volatility that the things that worked before no longer work, that, things have changed and people can feel really defeated or even overwhelmed, especially when you are an expert. Maybe you became an entrepreneur or business owner because you're just very gifted at that thing. You're an artist, you're a writer. You have an invention or product that you created, or you feel very passionate about what you do. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a business owner. I don't want to have to learn how to wear this marketing hat. I don't want to learn how to create video, or I don't want to, what about email and copywriting? And that you might feel like you're being pulled in a million directions. I want to share some of these patterns in ways that you can market your business, you can create content, you can grow your reach and reach new people in a way that feels really good. I have to say, as somebody who's probably a little nerdy, a little heady, that I take what I do very seriously, but I also find that I sometimes know particular parts of marketing that I should be doing, but they don't feel good to me or they don't feel natural. Sales is something that has always been hard for me. I'd rather impress you with my brains, answer your questions, and you'll be like, oh my God, Megan, like, you know so much. I would love to learn with you. And I watch some big coaches and marketing experts who are truly incredible at that transformation piece. And in fact, I was doing a consult with an incredible person a while ago, and they said, Megan, you create a lot of process oriented content. And it was meant as constructive feedback. And at first, I felt really guilty and I felt bad about it. But I realized that I do that because that is the way that I can create content very easily. Answer your questions, create content that you're actively seeking, right? That you're looking for. Why sort of be disruptive and show up? And actually, this is probably why I love Pinterest. Pinterest is full of people who have high intent. They're already actively looking for something. So instead of being disruptive, you can insert yourself in your audience journey. And to me, maybe because I'm come from like touchy-feely psychology world, helping other people, the idea of like being a very like salesy, in your face, disruptive person, not my cup of tea. So if you've made it this far, you're probably thinking, yeah, me too. So not just with the volatility of marketing and social media and having so many things change, kind of feeling like the rug has been pulled out from under us, some of us, but that there's also AI. How does AI factor into this? And what sort of impact has it had on marketing? If you haven't considered that or had those thoughts over a cup of tea or a glass of wine with your biz besties, I recommend you do. It's also so fascinating to me to talk to other people outside of my own little bubble, my own little online business silo, and to hear about how they perceive, use, and think about AI. Anyways, so let's talk about my marketing. Honestly, over the years, oftentimes when people come into my program, one of the first things they say is, yeah, but Megan, what do you do? How do you do that? How do you know that? How did you learn that? And a lot of it is just from observation. My whole job used to be about observing human behavior, making sense of it, and creating academic plans or plans for children so that we could figure out how to best support their learning needs. So I'd gather all these touch points, bring them together, and then be able to communicate that with their families, their guardians, their teachers, as well as staff who were involved. And so when you think about the work that I do now, that's really how I see everything. So my marketing all is rooted in this idea of that all roads lead to me. So I don't really care how you find me, okay? And when you look at my marketing, I use something that's called omnipresence marketing, okay? This means that I'm kind of everywhere. So you're gonna find me all over the place. I'm doing video on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. You can find me if you Google certain topics. I'm creating blog content. I get interviewed on podcasts all the time. Now, of course, there's always a few things I haven't really done, but no matter sort of your own learning preference or consumption style, audio, written, video, you're gonna find something that suits you. I really believe in creating content that's accessible. Now, over time, there's been times where like things come and go, right? So I wasn't so sure about TikTok in the early days. Then I got on TikTok and I really liked how easy it was to create video. Something like Instagram, I've always had a love-hate relationship with. I loved Threads when it was introduced because I never got into X or Twitter. I only ever used it personally. I never used it for business, so I hopped on that fast. Now, what I will say is that sometimes from the outside, people are like, wow, you're everywhere, but I'm not everywhere. I'm just like you. I have a busy life. I volunteer in dog rescue. I have a young family. I spend a lot of time with my family. I also just hate inefficiencies. I don't want to be online all day. I don't want to be spending 3 hours editing a reel, okay? I just don't. So what I have always invested in from the very early days is a good website and a blog. And that probably is like a no-brainer because I started out in the blogging world. But I will say this, all of my clients and students and anyone that I have been able to have intimate knowledge of their account, who's done really, really well, who's been highly successful on Pinterest, they've always had a blog. And this is because Pinterest loves new, fresh content. Now, it's not just that. I could never really figure out this missing piece. Well, because I've had people come to me and they would create a blog, not a great one, and we would struggle on Pinterest. And so I started figuring out that you needed to create content that was valuable and practical and inspirational and inserted yourself into the life or the customer journey of your audience. So you needed a high quality blog. So what does that mean? It means that you're creating content that's created with your audience in mind. So when we look at my overall marketing, what I always like to say to people is that it all starts with my website or my blog. Then we ripple out, or like tentacle style, to these other things. So after the priority of my website or my blog comes my email marketing. All roads lead to my website and my email marketing. Okay, you hear me on podcast, I'm going to get you to join my email list. You see something I've put on Instagram, something on YouTube, I'm maybe guest speaking in a program, I'm going to encourage you, the best way to learn with me is my email list. And the reason why is because I love email marketing. But email marketing isn't forever, right? You send out that campaign and yes, people can read it months later, but it doesn't live on the internet. That's what my website and my blog do. So my website and my blog are like my home, right? That's my store. That's my one-stop shop that works for me 24 hours a day. So these two things are really, really important to me. Now, outside of that, how do I create visibility for myself? How do people find me? Well, that's where marketing and social media comes in. So whether it's short form video, podcasting, whether it's cute, funny posts on Threads, or maybe a longer video, or I go live, or whatever your cup of tea is. We look at those things as being attraction or discovery based. Now, obviously my main muscle, my marketing muscle for SEO or search is my blog. But you could think about what I'm doing on Pinterest, what I'm doing on YouTube. These are also bringing people in. And I create content specifically to attract people as brand new people who have never heard of me before, to answer questions they have, to provide value, to teach them something. Now, after that, we have like social media, right? So social media can also be an aspect of discovery, but I also see it functioning as creating community, letting people get to know me. And then why I always want people to come to my email list is because that's where I establish a relationship, a connection, I storytell. I always give them, front row seat to everything. This topic is an example. It went out to my email list first, and now I'm creating a video. So over my years, I've done organic marketing, paid marketing. I run all my own paid advertising. I use email marketing. I use funnels. I'm using long format content, short format content. And through this, I have figured out a system that works really well for me, especially when I'm not working. I tend to come and go. Sometimes I'm like really on my A game. I'm in all the places. I'm doing all the things, and then it grinds to a halt, but it doesn't halt. I might not be showing up, but my content keeps working for me. And it's why I lean so heavy into search marketing, so that if I need to take time away, I take my summers off. I typically take all of December off. My kids get home. Somebody's sick. Life happens. So I have built a business that is life first, right? And I do really work a minimal amount because I've created so much content, social media and website based, that basically runs in the background for me. Now, when I have the capacity, I'm going to get online and I'm going to do those things that I know are going to make you fall in love with me, right? You're going to learn about my life. I'm going to help share information with you. I'm going to show up and remind you that I am the person to learn Pinterest from, that my course Pin Potential is your one-stop Pinterest course that you need. It's support, it's coaching, it's the teaching, it's the tools, okay? But I just know that as I've marketed my business, I've always done things in a certain way, even when they weren't cool, even when it wasn't flashy, the hottest thing, when everyone was jumping into short form video. I experimented, but it was with a but. I always have a but. That's what you need to learn about me, is that I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but what happens if I'm sick and I can't film videos? What if I need to take a break? Will this content continue to bring people to the places that make me money? And that is the big thing that I want to put to you. You need to create a marketing strategy that is resilient, that is sustainable. And I don't care if you love short form video, amazing. If you love podcasting, amazing. But what you need to think about is that layer of protection. What type of content are you creating? Are you creating different content to do different things for you? Are you showing up in different places, some for attraction or visibility or growing? And are you creating content that actually allows people to get to know you, that allows you to share your story, your perspective or point of view, or even to provide that ability to create a bridge to get to know you, the old like, know, trust. And I find that a lot of people who are really excited, interesting, they get online and they're like, oh, this is easy, I'm just going to create content. But then what they realize very, very quickly is you can have those big numbers, but if you don't have things in place that help people to get to know you, to trust you, and that creates depth, right? A dynamic relationship, then you're never going to make money. What I can say is that my marketing approach for myself and that I've taught my students for years continues to grow every single day. That the type of content I create, that the unique way that I perceive marketing for online businesses, pretty much for any niche or industry, it's ironclad. It's working better than ever before. ChatGPT loves me. Google loves me, even with the Google Helpful Content update. Social media sends me referrals, and every single month, month over month, I'm growing in authority. I'm growing in actual website traffic and revenue because I've created a resilient system. Now I'm going to end there. This is just like literally shooting from the hip. If you're interested in learning more and you want to learn not just about Pinterest, but about so much more, make sure you're following me. I am going to be dishing on the first layer of my marketing plan in the next video in this short series. If you have questions, make sure you jump into the comments. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you are thinking. What have you noticed? What's working for you? What's not working for you? We are going to be laying it all out, and I cannot wait to share more with you.